Oh guys, I've got some bad news. Hello and welcome to another episode first. The bad news is that off screen while leveling up, I died. I didn't just die, I died a lot of times. I died like 3 or 4 times. The first time was because I jumped off of a cliff, right? So it doesn't quite count. It was accidental. I forgot that I was supposed to be not dying. And then I died from that. And then I just started doing stupid stuff and I just wasn't thinking about it and I died a couple more times. One of the other times as well was from jumping off a cliff. And one time was because I went AFK, which you can hardly blame me about. That's how I lost Survivor on my Syrian Elementalist. It's so annoying. But in any case, I'm still going to count it that I haven't died because I haven't died actually on film yet. But technically, yes, I have died. I have died a total of 6. I thought it was like 4 or 5. 6 times. So, yeah, I thought I should come clean and let you guys know. Not going to do a recap yet because we didn't technically finish the previous story step. We will do a recap, though. So I asked all of you, hey, which decision should I go with? I'm going to make a decision.
Bringing a civilian into this matter.
Oh, we already heard this. I'm going to make a decision here I don't think everyone's necessarily going to agree with. Because... mainly because I got mostly comments to the contrary. But wait, have we already seen this? Do we have to watch this again? I think we might have to watch this again.
You look grim.
You look grim.
We've learned that the white man...
Yes,
My name was
we
on a
have
list
definitely
of...
seen this. Okay, yeah, so we get the choice. Do we go with Anise or Logan? I'm going to go with Logan. A lot of people said Anise, and the reasons why you're all saying Anise are the same reasons why I probably, if this was my normal character, would also go Anise. Because you always feel like you're going to get more story or stuff, or more interesting mechanics, and the pacing is going to be more interesting if you go with the more stealthy or the more complicated approach, right? Which is totally fair, and that's what I kind of think all the time as well. But I think it's quite telling that when you go on the wiki for these quests, that's probably what goes through everyone's brains. Because you go on there, and there's loads of information about the Anise step, but there's none about Logan's, except the fact that apparently it's quite hilarious. And I think that Logan should make us laugh at least once so that people don't just flat out hate him because of the books. So we're going to go with Logan. A direct... Plus we went with Anise before... Wait, did we go with Anise before or did we go with Logan before? It doesn't matter. We're going to go with Logan. So a direct attack worked before. Let's put that strategy to work again. Done. I'll meet you outside their camp here in Nashar's Hills. Exemplars, Salia and Mahid will be there as well. They've been in on this from the start, so it's only fair to let them see it through. Sure, I'll see you there. Bit of an excuse for why they're there, but fine. So, as you can see, we got our reward here. We got a new mask. I'm going to go with Precision, which should be fun. Oh, I was hoping that would level me up to 14, because now we're on a level 16 quest, and we're still only 13. I reckon we can handle it, though, so it should be fine. Let's go back out into Divinity's Reach. And yeah, that's kind of my plan. Also, the Initiate as well that totally boggled my mind was that guy upstairs that I was a bit stupid and just killed straight away. Well, I wasn't stupid. Who else wouldn't have killed him? But apparently you can reason with him, and I guess there's a chance he was still alive and be with us, and that's why that dialogue was like that. And it just never really accounted for it, so I guess that's what they were doing. So anyway, as you can see here, we're actually going a long way south now. So before we came to, where were we? We were here. This is the lodge. So let's go back there. We're just going to like proper barrel on south, and because I don't want to do another 25-minute long episode where we don't do anything, I'm gonna just run as fast as I possibly can all the way down there. We can potentially as well change some of our equipment, I suppose. Oh no, my inventory's full again. Really? Okay, I've got to sort that out too. We'll do that off screen though. That should be fine. I'm not too worried about that, as long as I actually remember to do it. And I'm not going to kill stuff on the way either. Might look like I'm rushing a little bit, but the thing is, it's just there's that decision you got to make, isn't there? Of, oh, actually, do we only have to go there? That's not too bad, actually. There is just a decision of, hey, what bits do we show and what bits don't we? I think in total on the channel now, I should be reasonable at being able to show off pretty much everything. I don't mind so much not showing off the generic running around leveling up stuff just as part of the game. I don't mind necessarily not showing that off because I know that I'm covering that in daily, for example. And so we're kind of getting a bit of everything daily, which you guys probably have already, well, you definitely would have already seen now. As you can see from that, maybe, if you've noticed, there's nothing personal story related on the footage for daily. Because like personal story comes from the LP, everything else is kind of through that and other odd stuff I do on the side. So in total, I will have covered everything, and I'm not really interested in covering becoming a bit too redundant just for length's sake. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. I quite like it. I think it's a good one. We're being taught about meta events here. Meta events are, so you've got events in the game world, which I guess you guys are reasonably familiar with that at this point. Meta events are essentially just chains of events. So you can get event chains, which are just fine, and they occur anyway. But a meta event is when you've got a particularly interesting or long event chain that's in a certain area that can go over a very wide area. So this is this massive swamp here. This is a place called God's Lost Swamp, which I'll actually show you something cool here actually before we run past. So you've got these, you get loads of these events in a certain area, and they can like go across the entire map kind of thing. And you'll get a bit on the UI here that tells you specifically what's going on with that meta event. So right now this swamp lies dormant, so whatever meta event usually be happening here isn't happening right now, and in fact this is a really cool one. But where are we? This is kind of a fascinating place for any Guild Wars 1 players. This is the Temple of the Aegis. So in Guild Wars 1 we heard about a temple that existed in Kryta. And I've already kind of established the plot of Guild Wars 1 as far as Kryta is concerned, and how most of the people at the time didn't believe in the 6 true gods, right? They didn't. They believed in the Messiah. They were mostly White Mantle, as the White Mantle were in control, and they had been the ones that had saved the people in Guild Wars 1 of Kryta from the chart. So it was only natural that they kind of all looked to the Messiah rather than the 6 true gods. And yet, in Kryta, there was one very prominent temple to the 6 true gods. It's actually kind of got a bit of an interesting story, because you remember I mentioned that guy Saul D'Alessio who formed the White Mantle? He was a devout believer in the Messiah. He really believed in them, and yet for some reason that they've never explained to us, but they specifically draw attention to, Saul D'Alessio gave the Temple of the Aegis specific permission to continue to exist under White Mantle rule, and he basically said that the White Mantle could never touch the Temple of the Aegis, which is interesting because you've got this guy that's supposedly forming this organization that will revoke believing in these other gods, and yet he seems to doubt himself at some point anyway, because he's specifically given these orders, no, you have to leave this temple as is, which is interesting. Now in Guild Wars 2, 250 years have passed. People in Kryta do believe in the 6 true gods now, but the gods have become far more distant, and the temple, unfortunately, through the passage of time, has become flooded. And what we're actually doing here is we're stood by one of the only remaining statues that is still above the water, and I believe, is that Melandria? I think this is Melandria. So Melandria's still one of the only ones that's still above the water. The other statues have all been sunken. In Guild Wars 1, we saw the rise of another god as well, called Cormyr, and it's quite funny because in Guild Wars 1, this temple never had a statue to Cormyr at it, but when we come to it in Guild Wars 2, we can see in the 250 years since then, the people did build a statue to Cormyr. This is Cormyr right here, but it, along with all the others, eventually, after all that time that passed, also sunk down. I'm also just realising this is our first time underwater on this character, isn't it? So this is underwater combat. It changes your skills again because you get different weapons. So we have a different gun out at the moment. Well, we've got a gun. We don't have guns usually as a ranger, so this is pretty cool. We'll get different abilities, which again I'm still learning as we go. And the other interesting thing, going back to Saul D'Alessio and why he specifically gave this place, this temple, that was very important to players as well. It was where you could access a lot of the end game stuff in Guild Wars 1. So it was very handy for that, and it kind of speaks to a lot of Guild Wars 1 players because they probably spent a lot of their time here, because this was, especially when the game first came out, one of the few places that offered end game content. So it's kind of like, even though it might not have been super important in the story, it was a place that many players spent a really long time at, and as a result we kind of have a lot of memories of, which is why this is so weird to see it all underwater, and that happens quite a few times in Guild Wars 2. But yeah, well, one thing to think about, why did he give this place special permission to continue to exist? Well, in Guild Wars 2, there's this skill challenge here, which when you activate it, it's got the Temple of the Aegis here, and it says, a mystical structure predating the oldest memories of Tyria. The Temple of the Aegis ruins course with an ancient and unyielding power. It's said time itself originated from this sacred place. And that turns a lot on what we ever understood about the universe of Guild Wars on its head. Just that line there. I mean, it was always called the Temple of the Aegis. I guess none of us, I never really considered why was it called the Temple of the Aegis. Well, now apparently it seems there's this legend to do with this place that is where time itself began, which is really weird because that kind of contradicts, or, well, not necessarily contradicts, but it doesn't fit into anything we'd ever really heard about the universal time or how it works in this universe, in this game, ever before. So really, really curious. The meta events around here do tell a story of some other stuff that happens. In Guild Wars 1 in particular, I mentioned that you had a lot of end game that was accessible here. Well, basically, that end game consisted of two different realms of the gods. The gods were still reasonably active in Guild Wars 1. They were more distant than they had been even further in the past, but they were reasonably active. And the end game for Guild Wars 1 at its launch actually involved you going into the realms of two of these gods in different realities, these places in the mists, right? And one of those was a place called the Underworld, which is where the god of death kind of resides over. And here in Guild Wars 2, you will have seen some portals. This meta event and all the stuff that's going on here is about how the Underworld is kind of collapsing into the real world here, into Tyria, and you can see the portals opening amongst themselves and stuff, which is really cool. It's a brilliant place, and there's a lot of stuff there, and I'm sure on other videos, on daily and so forth, we will eventually see that whole meta event and so forth. Sort of flourish and go out. Anyway, to the south we do have this little outpost here. This is called a haven. There are many havens in the world. They're all they basically dot something that's called the Lion's Road. And the Lion's Road is an extensive, it's not one single road, it's an extensive network of roads that lead people all to one place. That one place being Lion's Arch, the area I talked about before that was rebuilt by pirates. And all the places that built on the Lion's Road, they're called havens. So that's what that is, and we just found our first haven there. There'll be many of those that we come across as we go through. Right, 10 minutes to get it. That's not too bad. We are now in a new area as well. We're no longer even in Queensdale. So Queensdale was there. We're now in a place called Kessix Hills. We haven't explored all of Queensdale by any stretch of the imagination. Barely any of it, in fact. But we are now in the next area. And we can continue our story, drawing out the cult. Meet Logan here and see what happens. Oh, same concept art, really? Alright. Okay, and as I say, because Wiki doesn't have much information on this one, this is pretty much blind for me, so this should be interesting. All level 17 soldiers. I guess I'm going to be hiding behind these people. Oh, we leveled up, did we, on our way here? Oh, okay. Did I spend my... Oh, no. I'll spend my traits in a second. I guess.
Looks like this combined Seraph Shining Blade strike team is ready to go. We just need somebody to start things off.
They abused the memory of my parents and tried to kill me. I want first crack at them.
I know you're angry, but we can't alert them to our attack before it begins.
Don't discount Raja's anger so readily, Exemplar. The White Mantle will bolt if they see us. But one angry civilian, especially one they want dead, they'll stay and fight. We'll have a company of guards waiting and trebuchets set to fire. The Seraph will be ready.
Very well, Captain. We'll play it your way. But as soon as they make a move, we'll be there.
Just be ready to move quickly. If you wait too long, there may not be any White Mantle left for you to fight.
Oh ho ho. Actually, a lot of this dialogue is ringing bells with me, so either I read the wrong page before, or it's very similar for both versions.
Make them focus on you. The trebuchets will be waiting for your signal.
Right, okay, so you guys are setting that up. I've just realised as well, I didn't speak to those after I chose my option before, did I? I'm sure there would have been extra dialogue there. Yay, let's go more into Beast Mastery. We've almost got our first minor slot in Beast Mastery, which will give us quickness, and quickness is probably my favourite like boon, even if you can consider it that in the game. It's not really a boon, I guess it's just an effect that many professions share. Don't worry, we'll be right over that ridge, waiting to run in on your signal. Just get them to attack, and we'll take care of the rest. Sure, I'm ready for this. We're right behind you, says Mahid. Where's, Oh, there she is. How did I miss you? You blend in very well. You're a very good Shining Blade. And you people have nothing to say, but you're going to try and fight. You're working on a catapult over there. Okay, brilliant. Let's see what we can do. Taunt the cultists until they attack. I quite like that. Hello, Torbon. Oh, 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 oh. He's taunting me! No, no, you don't. Okay, we're in another cutscene.
You look lost, citizen. And if you're not lost, you should get lost. You're not welcome here.
Look, he's actually in white.
But I'm selling little Jade Mersat statues. I enchanted the stones so that they weep and wet themselves when you mention Queen Sun.
Oh, shit.
What did you say? Hey, everyone. Gather around and listen to this idiot's last words.
Just that the Mersat were a bunch of pointy-toed bedwetters. The White Mantle must have been desperate to worship such laughable gods.
Oh, I am pissed.
We'll hang you from a tree and let the birds strip you down to the bare bones one peck at a time.
Good to know. It makes what I'm about to do even more satisfying.
Oh, man. I got some sass.
Go, go, go! We're under attack. Seraph and Shining Blade. Kill them all.
Yeah, no, we're going to kill you all. Wait, hold on. Jesus. Wait, they all just died straight away. They're brilliant. Okay. Alright, are you all just going to charge in? Is this pretty much the entire mechanics of this fight? I'm pretty sure I read all of that on Wiki. Not going to lie, so I don't know whether I'm doing the... I might have already seen all of the dialogue for this. We'll have to see, but curious. Okay, ow! Okay, yeah, I definitely need to stay back. Also, still don't have another pet. I appreciate how many of you telling me what you've done for your pets and stuff as well in your stories. Well, not necessarily your stories, just your experiences playing the game. What I'll probably do... I mean, I'm sure we ran past some pets, actually, on the way here, to tell you the truth. I might, at the start of the next episode, just, like, scout out, make sure I know where one is. And we didn't empty our inventory either. We'll scout one out, know where one is, and then actually specifically get it on the next episode, so it doesn't piss off us. This almost feels like I don't have to do anything. I could just absolutely kill these. By the way, actually, to talk about, a little bit about the story. So the reason why this was such a sick burn here, where I said about the statues, I'm selling little Jade Massart statues. She specifically calls them Jade statues. So the Massart in Guild Wars 1, they were spellcasters, right? And they still are in Guild Wars 2. That's kind of what the race is all about. They're spellcasters. Now, in the first game, you interacted with them a fair bit and kind of learned that they were these powerful spellcasters. And you developed these defenses against their most devastating magic, this thing called Spectral Agony, right? And you also learned how to see them. Like, for a very long time, they were able to hide themselves from us. But with the help of a character called Glint, something that's related to one of the Elder Dragons. That's a massive topic, which I'm not going to get into. But with the help of someone, we ended up being able to see them. And then we started to be able to kill them as spellcasters. And we realised, actually, they're kind of squishy. And then you learn later on that actually the Massart themselves are spellcasters, but they animate Jade constructs that do much of their heavy lifting and bidding for them. And the way that feasibly worked, practically worked in Guild Wars 1 was that they were the more heavy armoured classes, so they were like they were the warriors, and then they were the rangers and so forth. They were the guys that actually hit things, and then the rest of the Massart were all the caster classes, and they were a big part of the Massart. And they even kind of came back in later updates as well. They never looked Jade in the original game when it first came out. They were called Jade constructs, but they didn't look Jade. But then later on in later updates, kind of after way after development of Guild Wars 2 had started, they did some updates to Guild Wars 1, and in those they actually began to look Jade and so forth. So it's pretty cool that my character acknowledges that these are little Jade statues that like I've animated and stuff. I mean, that's why it's pretty cool actually. So it's not just a stupid little joke, it's actually pretty relevant to what you see how my objective here, by the way, says defeat the bandits, not defeat the White Mantle. That's weird. They are bandits. Wait, hold on. Am I missing something again? I don't think I am. I think they've just run away and like they're hiding behind the bandits, surely. Let's use another weapon, shall we? I think the only weapon that I've not shown you guys so far on the ranger is sword, I think. Great sword, maybe, actually? Did I show you regular? Hold on, we'll have to have a look. So if we press 8, it's another bit of the UI, an inopportune time, I'm sure, but the Seraph seem to be doing fine, which is good. It's nice to have NPCs that can hold their own, I've got to say. You can go to weapon skills. So, yeah, we can equip a sword, which gives us some new skills for us to try out. An axe in the offhand. So we've seen an axe in the main hand, but not the offhand. And also great sword and torch as well. Ah, the ranger actually gets quite a lot of variety. That's cool. And then we get 2 different underwater weapons too. So there's still plenty to show you guys, and I'll sort of prepare that. I'm not gonna. It was a bit ad hoc me just suddenly getting on today. I didn't do too much preparation coming on because I spent most of today making sure that daily was all going to be fine, which you guys will have seen. But I'm actually being a bit risky here at the moment. Daily's uploading as I play. And I want to make sure it's like all okay as it comes out, and I want to be able to watch it when it first uploads. But I'm just kind of here, so I'm hoping to finish this, that the upload won't have finished by the time I get back. Otherwise I might find out I've said something absolutely retarded and everybody's already seen it and I don't have the chance to pull the video or whatever. But maybe this isn't the decision I think I was supposed to make, unless later on. There are so many bandits, what the hell? Is there someone specific I need to kill? Jesus. Do they just keep respawning? Because this is pretty crazy. I know what they're going for here. It's supposed to be like, oh, this is a big fight where we just kill tons and tons of stuff. But Jesus, this much? And there's a lot of bandits here too. And I'm terrified because they actually hurt really, really badly. Everyone keeps running in. Do we just keep fighting for a very long time? I guess we might. So there's that. What else is there to say, really? Not too much, I guess. We're in Kessix Hills now, so I can start to do different splashes at the start of the videos. That's kind of my plan there. They're not just random screens of Krita. No one's actually commented on that. I don't know whether anyone's noticed. They're not random screens that I've been doing. They are screens located very close to where we've been stood in the LP. Now, for the purposes of Divinity's Reach, which is where we spent most of our time, that's kind of hard to do, to be honest, because Divinity's Reach you couldn't really get to in Guild Wars 1. You could go to a place called Divinity's Coast, but the Divinity Coast, sorry, but not too much further north than that. But that was about as close you could get, so that was a bit weird. But like for today, I'm pretty sure the thing going in will be like, for example, the Temple of the Aegis in Guild Wars 1, just because we've been there now in Guild Wars 2, and that's kind of my plan. I'm hoping that you will be able to recognise all that stuff and go, oh yeah, I remember this. And yeah, that should be quite fun. I know that might go over some people's heads because you haven't played the first, but hey. My original idea for the LP was I was going to have them like cutting in all over the place and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But that was kind of one of the reasons why it took me so long to just start doing this, because I had so many crazy plans I wanted to do with this. So many. I'll probably, over the course of the episodes, talk about all my plans, because I might still do some of them. It just depends. And it actually looks like the bandits are dying down. Yay. Oh, we've got a boss. There we go, and he's an Inquisitor. This is a little bit similar to the Confessor. Inquisitors were characters that we became familiar with, or at least conventions, naming conventions, for the White Mantle in Guild Wars 1. Again, in particular, that's in reference to the updates that occurred way later. After Guild Wars 2 was actually in development, we had a lot of Inquisitors that we kind of got to interact with and kill and stuff. And some of them were quite funny. There was one called Inquisitor Bauer that was pretty much just a massive parody of Jack Bauer from 24, which was pretty brilliant. Torbon, I don't know. I don't really recognise his name from anywhere. He might be another reference. Thing is, with Guild Wars 2, the first game had a lot of very blatant references to things. Guild Wars 2 is a lot more muted. A lot more of the references, I guess, are to their own game now, which is cool. But I'm very much expecting as more updates come out to this that we'll see more updates to pop culture and stuff, because that's kind of what happened with the first game too. It was like there wasn't too many references, then there were some, then there were loads, and then there were just ridiculously you couldn't move without seeing loads. A bit like Borderlands, really. That's another game that's got absolutely loads of references all over the place. Hey, he's dead. Yay! That was a very boring quest, must be honest.
Well done, everyone.
But still no answers. Do I have to sift through the ashes of every White Mantle hideout in Kryta to find out what they know about my parents?
That shouldn't be necessary. Now that the operation is over, I can tell you the good news. Salya and I found the last known residence of your parents.
Really? Can you show me the way? If Countess Anise can spare you for a personal pursuit, that is. Maybe I can find something useful there.
After this victory, I'm sure the Countess won't object to us helping you with this. The location is south of the Delanian foothills. We'll meet you there.
Go on and good luck. I hope you find what you're looking for. After everything you've done for Kryta, you deserve some good news.
Sure, but do you mean to tell me then that these guys already knew where my parents were, and yet they didn't tell me until after they used me to help this? Really? That's a bit dickish, guys. For the rewards for this, we get a ring, which we can't even wear because we're not high enough level at the moment. And we also get some upgrade components too, which we can double click to items, a la, just like in action RPGs. Oh, really? I thought I had just enough space to be able to get away with it. Can we take that too? Yay, we do have just enough space to get away with it. Alright, brilliant. So there we go, let's speak to Logan. I feel a bit bad, actually, honestly. Maybe we should have gone with Anise, because I kind of want to... Anise is cool. Okay, good work, he says. I'm going to put up a commendation for bravery in my report. You did a bang-up job. Thanks, Logan. I only hope I can be as brave learning about my parents' past. I know you will be. In the time I've worked with you, I've been amazed at your inner strength and dedication. Trust yourself. Sure, that means a lot. Hey, Salya. She says, yeah, what's going on? Explain yourself, woman. We will meet you at the property as soon as we're done debriefing. An exemplar's work is never done, at least not when one reports to Countess Anise. She seems nice. Is she tough to work for? Anise is made of stronger stuff than most people would believe. Still, she's hard, but she's fair. Just don't test her temper. Understandable. Nice to know that she's not all good looks and flattery then. She protects the Queen, after all. If she didn't know how to lead, she wouldn't be the Queen's right hand. We trust her with our lives, and so can you. The Queen, by the way, the Queen isn't some, useless, oh, I can't defend myself piece of crap. The Queen is pretty crazy, actually, so don't get that impression too heavily. Or maybe you're supposed to, maybe I've just ruined that for you. Maybe you're supposed to get that impression, and then you're supposed to think, oh, she's totally not what I was expecting. Where is Mahid, Salya? Oh, here he is. Hello, Mahid. Your quest to find your parents is inspiring, Natalie. I'm almost as excited as you to find out more. Where did you get the information? And when did you get the information? I can't tell you everything, but the information came from the Shining Blade archives. Your parents worked for the Blade. Their records were filled with commendations. If they worked for the Shining Blade, why didn't you find me when they died? Didn't the Blade know I existed? Your parents never told the Shining Blade about you. They wanted to retire and have normal lives. The Blade respected that and never checked in. See, this is weird, they hid, the Shining Blade should, really know everything, right? And yet they hid this information from them. Maybe I have the wrong impression of the Shining Blade. Maybe they're not so much information gatherers as the Order of Whispers, for example, who we'll meet later, if you don't know who they are. God, we'll meet everyone later, everyone. But maybe they're not so much that. Maybe they're just kind of spies that... You'd think that they'd keep tabs on them, though, and find out they had a freaking daughter. It's all a big mess. Imagine how different my life might have been if we'd grown up together. I might be a Shining Blade like you and Celia. I would have liked seeing you grow up. As a kid, I mean, you know. Friend, sure. Okay, thanks for the information. Alright, so, yeah, I guess next time, that was, funnily enough, it feels like this one's flown by, but that's the conclusion of this next chapter, actually. That was a sweet jump, that was really cool, I didn't mean to do that. This is going to be the conclusion of this chapter of the story next time, where we find out, once and for all, what is going on with our parents. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will make sure I've scattered out like some kind of pet or something, and I will see you next time for whatever. Yeah, have a good one, everybody. A bit of a delayed wave there, but it's good enough.